To discuss what's on the table, we have political commentator and author Quentin R. Giles to help us understand the arguments and potential solutions. So, Quentin, there are going to be people who say that this transition team, they've already done a lot. They've already broken barriers with a lot of the selections that they've made. But this conversation is about the bigger positions, the senior level positions. So can you explain why these organizations are pushing for more?
Yeah, these organizations are pushing for more because what we've seen so far, to the credit of the incoming administration, is a lot of diversity, particularly Black people, are at the deputy level. And so that's the number 2 level. Even when you look at the historic nature of Kamala Harris as the vice president, and we don't discount any of that, it is still the number 2. And so what these civil rights agencies and advocacy groups are saying is that we want diversity at the top of these agencies to be able to make the decisions, the number 1. It's not good enough to only be diverse in number 2 and number 3 spots, specifically because Black people helped the Biden-Harris ticket come into power.
And I actually do want to get to that in a second. But when you talk about, how much more change there needs to be. We got the news about General Martin today. Who gets to decide that? They're going to have a meeting today with a lot of different people who have a lot of different opinions. At what point is it enough? How much more diversity and leadership does there need to be?
Yeah, well, the person that gets to decide ultimately is Joe Biden. He's the president, so he gets to decide what his cabinet and who his cabinet is made up of. I don't think there's ever going to be enough. It is the job of the civil rights groups to continue to push for equity for all people, particularly, again, Black people, because that's what they're saying. It's not enough to simply appoint Black people to positions of power. If that were the case, you wouldn't see such backlash from civil rights groups and a good majority of Black people against the Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron. So what they're saying is we need people who actually care and who actually come into agreement with providing equity for all peoples. And so it's never going to be enough until it's enough.
Got it. That's the perfect answer for that. So you hinted at this earlier, that this is kind of, I wonder if you see this as a sort of foreshadowing for things to come once Biden is officially president. Are there going to be groups of people that he made promises to that are going to kind of hold his feet to the fire in this same way for the next 4 years? Is that something he can expect?
Absolutely, and they should. You're seeing that now. You're seeing Hispanic caucuses come out. You're seeing Native American civil rights groups come out demanding to be seen and to be heard. Biden himself ran on the promises that not only is he going to restore the soul of America, but that his administration would look like America. And so that means you have to have various people groups at the table to ensure, I come back to this word equity, because for so long we fought for equality, but equity is that other piece that people are demanding. And so absolutely, you are going to see organizations holding this administration's feet to the fire because they are saying we are tired of being underrepresented and we are tired of not being heard. And since you ran on this promise, since we showed up in historic numbers to get you elected, we demand and expect that you stick true to that promise.
And I wonder if there have been any hints of how Joe Biden will handle that, right? Because he was asked about it at a press conference recently about, the civil rights leaders and how they are frustrated that they haven't met with him. And that was the word that was used. And he said, well, that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to fight for this. What was your reaction to his reaction?
Yeah, I thought it was very appropriate. And he's absolutely right. That is what they are supposed to do. And what he is supposed to do is to continue to listen and to take those things in. So I was very pleased with it. It did not come off as dismissive. It came off as, I hear you. Ultimately, like I said earlier, Joe Biden is going to have to make this decision. But it is very encouraging to hear him be open and receptive and at least present as if he's keeping his promises.
So let's talk about what happens next, because all of these people, we refer to them as picks or nominations or what have you, because just because Joe Biden speaks their name doesn't mean that they get the job. So talk to me about the process for how these people get this job and the likelihood of that with a Democratic Senate versus a Republican Senate. He's like, that's where I was going with that.
Yeah, that's an excellent question because that's up in the air right now. These cabinet positions will be approved by the Senate, and what we know is the Senate is still up in play. There are 2 Senate seats in Georgia that all eyes are on to see how the people of Georgia are going to elect and who they're going to elect. And so if Republicans maintain control of the Senate, that might mean it will be more difficult for Joe Biden to get his choices that he's named actually confirmed. Now, we have seen and we have heard from some Republicans saying that, they're going to offer some grace. They are going to allow Joe Biden to get the people that he wants. We've also heard some micro targeting of certain people that he's named that Republicans don't seem to be going with. But if they maintain control, then it might make it a little more difficult. Now, if the Democrats pick up those 2 Senate seats in Georgia, then one is led to believe that what Joe Biden wants, particularly in his cabinet, he's going to get.
All right, Quentin R. Giles, thank you for helping us make sense of everything going on. We hear so much transition news, and so it's nice to have you come through and tell us exactly what it is and how it may go. So we appreciate you for that.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. We'll be right back.